So I hope everyone can see my screen. So we are basically approaching towards the end of our training, maybe a couple of more sessions pending in terms of development, in terms of covering the main aspects of our training. And this is basically something that we are going to cover today is the local development. When we say local development is like, let's say you don't have a Salesforce, not Salesforce, I would say, let's say you don't have good internet connectivity and you really wanted to keep developing your component and you wanted to preview the same into the local system, you could use local development. There are some limitations whenever you are using your component at certain places, or if your component is using some dependencies, then it might not work the LWC local development, but most of the time it really works for you. So there are prerequisites, some of the steps that we really have to install, like some of the steps that we really need to take in order to install the local development server within our workspace or within our machine. So for macOS, these are the two steps that we need to do. One is we need to first install the Node GYP. If you don't install the Node GYP, we'll get the error that Node GYP is not installed. For Windows, you this is the command that you have to execute, and there are a couple of more steps that I really cannot recall right now because I don't have Windows machine currently. So what I would do is I'll showcase the steps for the Mac OS, and for the Windows, I would say just try to run it. I'm just giving it into the chat window into our Slack channel. If you could just run it and someone could let me know what if you're able to get the error or what exactly is happening, that would be really helpful for me to help you guys to basically install install these plugin for the local development. So if someone can help me, that would be really helpful. Try running this command into your local machine that I've just pinged into the system, and let me know what happens. In the meantime, for the Mac OS, we just need to first, what you have to do is you have to copy this command, that is sudo npm install -g. Okay, I'm just putting it for Mac OS. This is the first step that you have to do. Sudo says that you need to run the command into the admin mode because there is no such a way to run the command terminal in admin mode. So that's why we have. So all you need to do is you need to go to this your component. You could open your VS Code, go to the terminal and paste the command here. So once you paste the command, hit enter, it will ask the password for you and you just need to type the password. This will not let you know that the password is typing. So you need to keep typing, and once your password is correct, hit enter. It will install this Node GYP. This is something required for us to install the local development server. And the next is this command, which is sfdx plugins, because we wanted to install the local development plugin. So just do copy paste into the terminal and hit enter. So it will take some time. It's going to install, I think, 5 or 6 dependencies, or maybe 5 dependencies for us, and we would be able to install this server here. There are 4 dependencies you see here. 1 of 4 it's installing. Now we've got 2, 3. So it will take some time whenever you are installing for the first time, and if you're installing it again like me, it will not take much time. Once you have installed your plugin, if you do right click on any of the component, you will see one more option, that is sfdx preview component local. Hello. Can
You
anyone
you got you got disconnected, I think.
yeah, can anyone confirm at which point you lost me?
You were showing there is an option of uh, previewing the component locally. Right click.
Okay, yeah. So what I was telling is, I was like, I just open this data table component and do the right click. You will see preview. You will see preview component locally, the new command that you will see. If you click on this command, you will see that there are three options using the desktop browser or emulator or simulator for iOS. For this demo purpose, we are going to use desktop browser. Once you click on desktop browser, what it will do is it is going to connect with your Salesforce org. It's so the best thing is that it's really going to connect with your Salesforce org, and it's really going to get the data from Salesforce and then try to display into the UI so that you can see if the data is coming or not. Okay. So if you could see here, our component has been local started, but we are not able to see any component. You can also use inspect element. You can go to console and you can see if there is any error. So there could be some error into this component. That's why we're not able to use the data table here. But you see, this is the local development server. You go to back, you will see all the components here that you have within your Salesforce, within your VS Code project. All the components you are going to see here, and you could click on any of the component to see what is the outcome that you are getting. Maybe if you talk about we have got I think case list was there. If you click on this case list, you will see, yeah, now we're getting this error. Okay, because this case list is using some components that are not supported locally. That's why it is giving some error here. But there could be some components that are very easy for us and that you would be able to use it easy, like hello world. Okay, error while there is some problem, I believe, this with this hosting, maybe with this local server, because that's why it's not letting us. Maybe if we go to lookup, says invalid directory LWC. If yeah, so if you see here, it says invalid directory. That means this local server is still not supported LWCF. So there are something, but you could definitely use the components and preview it. Cannot find or compile the component and something. It's really giving us the error. So what I will do is I'll quickly create a component. You can say test component, and we'll have just the simple LWC here. And okay, we don't need to really deploy it. Our local server will immediately get refresh. And if you get back to localhost colon 3333, you will find your component here, like test hyphen component. If you click on, you will see here, this is the outcome of your component. So if your component does not have dependencies, it's not like it is a valid component, then you would be able to see that into the local development as well. Like I rarely see that developers are using this concept, but I just wanted to showcase you so that you all can see, you all know that, okay, there is something local development where you can preview the component locally. That would be helpful for you. Okay, so did someone tried into the Windows and are they getting any error?
Yes, Amit, I tried in Windows and I'm getting the errors. Basically, say unable to update lock within still threshold, and then some error for yarn add Salesforce LWC dev server.
What's that error going to paste into the group?
Okay.
Because the Windows system actually creates some problem, and this is a something that gives us the error. So it says unable to update the log within the state threshold, install plugin failed, yarn. Okay, this is something error. Okay, now I've got the error. I'll share the steps here in the chat itself, maybe by tomorrow or maybe in over the weekend, so that you all who are is using Windows can run this and try to basically install the command. But if you're not able to install it, that's not a blocker. You should not be really worried about it, because this is something you already have an option to preview the component into the UI, into your Salesforce component, into your Salesforce org. So you really don't need to worry about that. I'll try to figure it out what exactly the error is. Because I have to Google it and then then share the steps with you also. I'll share with you, and let me see what else I can do here.
Sure.
So that was the one thing that we had for LWC local development. Next thing that we had is regarding the full calendar setup, because I know that there is some problem, and this is something which is really I'll say important for all of us to know how we can basically host the various CSS files and various JavaScript files that are within the GIF file. Okay, so what all you need to do is, first thing, you need to go to fullcalendar.io and then click on this. You will see there is a top right GitHub icon, May 25 or maybe some other date. Just click on that. And what we have to do is basically the full calendar latest versions like version 4, 5, 6 are not supported in LWC. To make the support for version 4 of full calendar, there are some tweaks that we need to make. So I'm not going to touch that. Version 3 is supported. So we are going to take version 3 and we are going to talk about how we can implement full calendar version 3 in Lightning Web Component. So what you have to do is you have to go to page number 6. Okay, page number 6 is where you will get the version 3 of your full calendar library. So you need to go to this version 3.10.2, click on assets and download the first file that you have, the GIF file that you have. And once you download, you will see the files something like this in the CSS. Okay, just a minute. So this is where you would be seeing the files. Okay, you've got, let me remove the unnecessary file that we have. So this is what you will see. Okay, you can change the name. Maybe you could just keep it as full calendar, or you could say full calendar V3 or something. Okay, I'm going to say V3. And once you change it, if you double click, if you're on Mac OS, you double click, you will see the folder is coming up. If you are on Windows, you might need to extract it to a certain location where you want. I've just did it into the same. So if you see here, my folder that came up is says full calendar, and it gives me the version. So I'm also going to change the folder name to full calendar V3. And if I click on this, expand this, you will see it has some CSS, JavaScript. It has also demos. If you click on demo, you will see all the demo coming up for you. Okay, it has some JS file. It has some JSON events. It has some PHP files for testing purpose. So it gives you the multiple multiple things for the testing purpose. I'm going to delete this demos because I don't need it. In the library, within the library, you will see there are jQuery file. And within the locales, you will see all the locales for the different countries like France, Germany, or maybe UK, Japanese. All these different locales are here within the locale folder. And then the rest of the files that we have, like full calendar.css, full calendar.js, min.css, min.js, those kind of files that we have within the parent folder itself. So now I'm also going to delete this file, this one as well, because this is something, or instead of deleting, I'll say it is 3.10.2. This is my full calendar. Now, first thing that you need to do is, once you have uploaded, you've done the maybe rectification of folder. You are here like full calendar V3. Okay. What you have to do is you have to basically create the zip file of your folder which you have prepared after removing the unnecessary files or something. So just do the right click. For Windows, we have got option called compress. If I compress, it's going to give me the zip file. For Mac OS, you might, sorry, this was for Mac OS, the option that I have shown you. And for Windows, there could be a different option. And I'm sure you are aware about how you can create the zip file. Okay. So once you have got this, next step that you have to do is you have to go to static resource and create a static resource and upload the file as a static resource. So you have to go to like a static resource within your system. You already know. And then click on new. I already have this full calendar and full calendar v3, but I'm going to create a new file and showcase you here. So I'll say full calendar JS. That's my file static resource name. I'll choose the file, and the file is full calendar v3.zip file, which we have just created. Okay. And then if you want, you can change the cache control to public. Otherwise, you can keep it as private. That's also going to work. Now you have got this full calendar JS as your static resource. Next thing that we have to do is we have to create the component, Lightning Web component. I'm going to name it as full calendar JS, or maybe I'll say v3. Okay. And we have got our component full calendar. This is the one which I have implemented to date itself. Full calendar v3 is the one where I'm going to walk you through one by one. The very first thing we will do is we will expose it to Lightning App Builder, and then we're going to have maybe master label, we'll say full calendar v3, and then we are going to just have the targets so that we can definitely go ahead and utilize it where we want. So we want to use it either within app page or within home page, not in the record page. Go to the HTML file and have the same thing that we used to keep for every session, that is Lightning card. You can change the title, you can change the icon if you want. So the title I will change to full calendar, and icon is going to be event, standard : event. Okay. And within this division tag, we're not going to have anything for now. And let's deploy this. This is just the very basic setup that we have done, and nothing rocket science. If someone is having any questions so far, please feel free to put into the chat, or maybe you can unmute yourself.
Hello.
So, yeah.
Which file you uploaded while creating static resource? Which zip file?
The file we have prepared.
Okay.
So this is the one which we downloaded.
Downloaded.
And this is the one which we have prepared. Like first we prepared all the folders, like we deleted all the unnecessary files and all, and then we just compressed it, and we have uploaded this one.
Zip. Okay.
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 Yeah. So we have just added the component into the home page, and you would see that this is a simple UI that we are able to see with just a full calendar as a title and nothing. Now here comes the important parts that we have to do is we have to go to the docs. Like while we are in fullcalendar.io, we need to go to the docs where you will see the documents. Okay. Now you could see here on the top right, it says version 6. V6 is version 6. So we need version 3 because that is our full calendar. So you need to go to basically version 3. Okay. And you select version 3. So the very first thing that we have to go is we have to go with getting started. Getting started is our go-to place where we are going to go. So we can go to click on introduction. Once you click on introduction, you will see the component like this. Now, one thing that I would like to highlight here is this process is for any external library that you wanted to host within your local, within your Salesforce. It could be jQuery, it could be full calendar.js, it could be any other external library. How you could like chart.js or d3.js, there are multiple libraries that you wanted to use. So that is how you will get started from the document itself. Okay. So it says loading the code. We can see, I don't know what it is here, but we just need to click here and we'll see what happens here. So if you see here, for loading the code script tag, it clearly says that, okay, we need to use full calendar.css. We need to use jQuery.min.js. We need to use moment.js, and we need to use full calendar.js. So these are the files that we need to load in our component in order to work with the full calendar. These are the minimum 4 files. Okay. So, but we know that link and script tag is not supported in LWC. So how we will support, how we will make sure it is working. So as we have already talked about the load style and the load script tag from the platform resource loader. Okay. That's what we are going to do here now. As we got to know like everything in the document, I'm going to use I'm going to open this resource loader library, the component, and then copy these 2 lines. One is that is loading the method load script and load style from Lightning Platform resource loader library. The second one is for importing the static resource so that I can reuse it. Now what we wanted to import here is we don't want chart.js, we want full calendar.js. So we have to replace it, and you could just name it whatever you want. Now let's talk about, we are going to first have is rendered as false initially, and then we are going to have rendered callback. Within the rendered callback, we will check if our is rendered attribute is true, then we are going to return it from here. Otherwise, we will set is rendered as true. And then later on here, we are going to load the static resource. Okay. I hope everyone is clear up to here, because we have already talked about all these. Can I get thumbs up or thumbs down regarding the same? Okay. So we've got this here. Now what we have to do is, as here what we are trying to do, if we go to document, we are trying to load 4 static resource. Out of 4, 1 is CSS and 3 are JS file. So what we have to use is we have to use promise class, as we talked about, promise.all method, and it's going to take multiple promises, and then it will give us the then that is our callback function executes when there is a success message. So we will say then, and if there is any error, we are going to have an error. Okay. So it's going to add error. Now for error, let's see if we have, we have this error. So we are going to have the message, error message here. And if there is no error, we are going to just have a console.log, and we will say resource loaded. If you want, you can say full calendar resource loaded, something that you might wanted to differentiate from the other resources. Okay. Yeah. Now we have to put what are all CSS we wanted to load here. So which CSS we wanted to load? We want first of all, we wanted to load full calendar.css. So that is a CSS file. So we have to say load style. And we have talked about the method, that is this comma and the static resource name. Now this is here, you all have to pay attention. This is really the heart of our loading the static resource. Now earlier when we loaded this chart.js, this was a simple JavaScript file. This was not a GIF file. This was not a GIF file. This was not a folder. It was just a simple JavaScript file. If you go to static resource, you would see that this is a JavaScript file. It clearly says that it is text by JavaScript. But now the file we are talking about is application by GIF. This is a GIF file. Okay. So how we will refer to a certain file, certain location, that is full calendar.js, full calendar.css. So that is where your local system comes into the place. You know that you have got this full calendar v3. This is what you have used and compressed. Okay. So if you have compressed this folder, that is full calendar v3, and under this folder, if you see there is something called full calendar.css. So now what will be the complete path? The complete path will be chart.js, sorry, here we are, full calendar.js plus, you wanted to go to this folder called full calendar v3, because this is the folder you have compressed. And within this full calendar v3, there is a file called full calendar.css. This is where you wanted to, this is your CSS file which you wanted to refer. Any confusion here? Anyone? Okay, I don't really hear anyone saying anything. That means we are good. So this is one thing we have got. Now, if you have confusion, maybe if you're not asking, if you have a confusion, like how do you know that this is a folder, and then within the folder we need to go to this calendar file. So this is your GIF file. If you again extract it, okay, you would see that after extracting this, what it actually gives us, it gives us the folder. Here it says 2 because there is already a folder with the same name. That's why it says 2. If I again extract it, it will say 3. Okay. So if you extract it, you get the folder. That means there is a folder within the GIF file. So what you have to do is, this particular full calendar.js actually gives you the GIF file. And within the GIF file, you need to navigate to this folder. And within this folder, you have got this CSS file. Next, you have got this jQuery min.js, which is within library. So this is a JavaScript file. So you have to say load script. Okay. Again, you need to say this, comma, full calendar.js. Now this is your folder. First of all, you have to see full calendar v3. Okay. Then now what we have to do is, you need to go to this library folder and then jQuery.min.js. So I'm going to copy this here itself and put it here, and I will showcase you in the local system. Go to your folder, go to library, and you see there is jQuery.min.js. So full calendar folder, full calendar v3 is a folder, library is a folder, and then you have got a JavaScript file. So now similarly, we are going to have the same for, this is a moment.min.js. Okay, this is one thing. And then there is one more JavaScript file that we need to load, and that is within the full calendar itself, that is full calendar.javascript. So we don't need this library, and this is something like full calendar.js. And you could check here where exactly that JavaScript is. You need not to blindly follow the document, just see what the document says, which file the document is referring to, and then find what place that document or what place that JavaScript is and use that. Okay. Now we've just, any questions or confusion so far? Okay, I see that. Okay, you don't have a question. Now let's refresh this page. Okay, I'm going to empty cache and do the hard reload. So either we will see there is any error, or we will see resources loaded, and we could see that resource is loaded. Okay, we got the resources loaded. We are able to basically achieve the first milestone, and it doesn't have anything else in the same page. Now, if you go to the other link that says initialize with options, now you could see here, it says once you have full calendar and its dependencies loaded on the page, you can write the JavaScript code that initialize a calendar. Okay. And this is the function that it says that you have to initialize the calendar. This is the self-calling function for the JavaScript. The main thing that we need to focus on is this part, which says page is ready now, initialize the calendar. It clearly has the comment here, and you will clearly see the comment into the documents. So here it says this is how we basically render the calendar. And this is our HTML file. It says dollar hashtag, that means ID calendar. So there is a division with the ID as calendar. So what we will do is we'll say, okay, let's copy this and go to our HTML, paste it here. Instead of ID, we are going to have a class tag. Okay. And as we talked about, whenever we are trying to manipulate the DOM, we will always use LWC DOM as manual. Now, what we will do is we are going to create a method called render calendar. And within this method, we are going to use try catch. And within try, here we are going to say, okay, let's have let calendar element, okay, equal to, we are going to say this dot template dot query selector, and this is our element that we want. Dot is going to say, okay, we are going to refer the class and we are going to get the calendar. And then here we could say, okay, if there is a calendar element, now we are getting the calendar element here. And then we have to just copy this, paste the code here within the calendar, within our if condition. And instead of using this dollar calendar, we are going to put this calendar element. And our simple calendar should be ready over here. You could also have a console.error, because this is where your patience is going to be tested. Okay. You will get multiple times error. Even I do get the errors having the correct code. So if you get the error, you need to have the patience, and then you will basically able to get rid of this. So I'm just going to have error while rendering calendar. I'm going to say json.stringify error. And that's it. Let's deploy this and we will send it to Salesforce. There is no such specific reason. I'm more comfortable using classes, because classes can also be used in the CSS file to provide the multiple CSS, different CSS. That's why I use the classes. If you want, you can try using the JavaScript, not JavaScript, the IDs, and then you can see if that works or not. I'm much comfortable with IDs. That's why I use not IDs, with classes. That's why I use classes. So if you've seen here, there is nothing happening because we did not call this method. So we have to call this method whenever the resources are loaded. So now we are calling this dot render calendar method from our rendered callback method when the resources are loaded. Now let's hope for the best and see if we are able to see the calendar or we are able to get the error. So the calendar is loaded. You can see here, everything is fine here. But there is nothing. You can't see any event. You can't click on any place, but you can just use next, previous, all those actions you could use. Okay. You could see here on the left side, the months are getting changed and everything is working fine. So far, all good. Any confusion? Now you might wanted to display the events here. You definitely wanted to display the event because that is the purpose of your full calendar. So you again get back to your document and click on docs. This is for the full calendar. For your other documents, it could be different. Okay, for other libraries. Again, change the version to V3. And this time for events, go to maybe events data. Click on this and it will tell you how you can prepare the events. So if you click on event as an array, this is how you pass the event in your full calendar. So this part we have already covered, which is used for rendering the event. And now we could use this particular events. This is the element, and these are the events that you have to provide as an array. So let's quickly put the events here now. And instead of 2010, we are going to say 2023 because we wanted to actually see the event. Okay. Now I'm going to say 06 because 6 is our, like we are in the month of June. And here as well. Okay. So let's say I'm going to say LWC training, Salesforce integration, and maybe Salesforce DevSecOps. Okay, so these are basically now an event is going to have ID. Okay, it's also going to have something called ID. So you could have that ID like 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. You could have that ID. Okay, event is going to have a start and end date, like start and end. Event is going to have all day. That says if your event is for all day, or if your event is not for all day, then you can provide a start and end date, or you can also provide only start date. What are all the information you could have within your event? You could go to the document and click on this event object, and you will see ID, title, all day, start, end, URL, class name, either it is editable. So there are so many things, like you have color, you have got background color, you have got border color, text color. So you can do the coloring part as well based on your need. Okay. So we have just deployed the code now. And if we refresh it again, I'm hoping that it will work. And it did work. You see here, we've got 3 events that are getting displayed. And let me play around with this. Let's say I'm going to say background color here. I'm just trying to have some CSS here. So I'll say background color and maybe green. Okay. I basically have a file. So I'm going to use the background color and all there from my file itself. So yeah, it's background color and border color. This is one of the event I have, and I don't have the other event. Okay. So I'm going to use background color and border color. For this, let's use blue. Okay. And then I'm going to say here, maybe yellow. I'm not sure how the yellow color will look like, but just for example purpose, we are trying to use here. Okay. And if you get back here and you refresh this page, you should be able to see the changes into your calendar. You could see here now, this yellow color is really bad. It's hitting my eyes. But that's fine. We could see here the things, LWC training is there, integration is there, and all those things are there. Okay. This is one part. Any questions so far? Okay, I don't see. Seems like everyone is getting completely. Okay. So now there could be some use cases because when you click on this LWC training, you might want it to get the event and display the details in the pop-up. Or if you click on this day, you wanted to know which date has been clicked and you wanted to display a pop-up for creating a new event. Okay. So that is again, because this is something, if you go to the calendar that is provided by Salesforce, that is basically the, I'll say, default functionality. This is the calendar provided by Salesforce. If you click on somewhere, it opens the pop-up. So you might want it to have the same kind of functionality in your calendar as well. So full calendar provides that. So if you see here, if you go to, again, go to the docs, okay, change from V6 to V3. And this time we really need to figure it out. Where is that? So within the events, it should be having some methods, okay. Or if not within the event, we might see, okay, there is a method called, I will say, click. Yeah, here it is, date clicking and selecting. Okay, this is the one. So there is a method called day click. Okay, and there is something called event clicking and hovering. There is a method called event click. So if you click on event click, you will see that this is your event click, and you could display the information. So maybe let me copy this and paste it here after your events. Okay, after events tag, put a comma and paste it here. I'm going to just remove the CSS part, and the rest we are alerting. What we are alerting is we are alerting this is our event, whatever has been clicked, and you could access any of this property like call event or title, call like what is the page reference that you are in and what is the view name. Okay, and similarly you will have a day click. If you get back, if you go to day click, you just copy and paste it here. Please interrupt me if you are having any doubts, any questions anywhere in between. Okay, and then let's deploy it. Once we are done, we are going to refresh this page and we will see what is happening. So our calendar is here. If you click on LWC training, you could see here it says, okay, we have clicked on LWC training. These are the coordinates and the view is month. This is a month view. Okay. And if you click on Salesforce integration, you will see the Salesforce integration has been clicked, and you could get the further details as well because you have got that event object, and you would be able to easily open a pop-up and display it into the pop-up. And if you click on somewhere in the date, you would see that this is the place where you have clicked, and then you could just open a pop-up to create the record. That is something you have, right? So one thing that I would like to tell you here is, if you use this dot, maybe something, let me say here, this dot is rendered is there, right? If you try to alert this, say alert this dot is rendered, and then if you deploy this alert might not work. Okay, so let's refresh this page. So we're going to click on this. We have got 1, 2, 3, and then undefined. It's not working at all. We are not giving true or false. However, it should give us the true or false. The reason, because this function is basically running within the full calendar library. And to open our component or modal or detail, you definitely need this this keyword accessible. So how you will access is, this is similar to our we have talked about LMS. You need to create, let's say, handle event click as a method, pass all the parameters that are here. Okay, and then just get rid of everything from the method. And here what you have to do is you have to say this dot handle click handle event click. This is your method, and you need to say we wanted to bind this keyword so that it knows that where we need to be. And similarly, you have to use this other method, that is handle day click. There are multiple methods that you could use. I'm just only telling you these two methods. You could have multiple. Okay. And then you could just do the same way that you have done for other. And you can set this. Okay. So that is one thing that we have. Now you would be able to see it. Now, sometimes you might see here, this is only having 2 days. There is no month, there is no list, there is no week option in the header, right? And you really have to just go there. And if you once click on today, there is no option to go to some other place. So what you can do is you can have the header here. You can have something called headers. Okay. How? What are all the properties? I have that in my like repositories. I'm going to take those and I'll showcase here. So what we wanted to have on the header, on the left side, we wanted to say, okay, use the previous, next, and today button. On the center, display the title. On the right side, have month, basic week, basic day, and list week. How it is going to impact, how it's going to change the view of our calendar, let's deploy this and we will be seeing that impact immediately. So you could see here, now we've got the title is in the middle. We've got the other part here like left, right, and today button here. We got month, we got week, we got day, we got list. Right? So if you see here now for Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, if you click on day, for today, we don't have any event. But for this week, we have 2 events. And now if you click on integration, you see there is something called Salesforce integration. These are the coordinates. And now what is the view? View is basic week. That's why we are getting basic week. And if you click on OK, now you got the alert message for your is rendered variable. That means now your this keyword is working fine. Now you could use your other methodology for displaying the pop-ups and filtering all the events and all those things, and you could do whatever you want. That is basically your full calendar things. Now this event I have used static events, but what you could do is you could make a SOQL query to Apex class, get all the events. It could be standard events, it could be custom events, it could be custom object, standard object, anything that you want to have display over here. You could just do the query, and once you click on this, let's say if you click on any date, instead of displaying this, whatever you have, let's basically get rid of this alert, maybe on from the date. What you could do is, remember we have created a modal component that is create account component, I believe, create account modal. Okay, this is the one we have. So what we will do is, we are going to import this here. We'll say import, and we'll say account underscore modal from C hyphen our component name, and it should be in the lower camel case, the starting one. And then what you could do is, when someone clicks on day, you could have, I'm just telling you, this can be an async method, and you will have constant result equal to await mymodal.open. And what it takes is, it takes 3 things, right? It takes the title, so you can say full calendar. It takes a description, that is, you can say full calendar modal, and it takes size, and you can say large, right? And if it has some API variables, public variables, you can also post those. And the same thing you can just have here as well. You can just have the modal. I'm just putting the same modal, but you definitely need to have the multiple different modals. Okay. And I'm commenting out all the alerts so that we don't get any alerts. So this is just what it is going to do is, we're hoping to get this modal account modal opened whenever someone clicks on date or some event, and then you can just display the information, that whatever information you want. So if I click here, you could see the modal is coming up, and this is for new modal. So you might want to change it to something else, right? You could just change it. So that is basically okay. Now if I click on anywhere, maybe if I click on event, the modal is coming. If I click on date, the modal is coming. So that is working perfectly fine for us without any issue, right? So you could just try it, implement it for your maybe events object, query the events, display all those events over here. Once someone clicks on event, display the event detail. When someone clicks on some date, try to create an event and see if this works. One last thing that we have is, if you go to again, go to the docs and go to the V3 version, under the event, if you see under events, there is something called event sources or event source object, or if you see events from Google Calendar. If you click here, you will see every single step by step how you could display the events from your Google Calendar. And this is how you should be able to display the events. So if you want, you could just go ahead It's not going to work, okay? But I'm just trying to showcase here. So here is going to be your API key, and this is going to be your calendar. So you could say, if your email is, my email is sfdcpanther@gmail.com. So you can just use this, your email here, okay? And it's going to display the calendar. So maybe let's see if I can showcase you. This is Google Developer Console, okay? I really have to change my account. Okay, so I just changed my account. It says that, okay, this is my email. It says which country you are in. I will say I'm in the Indian, I'm in India country, okay? And then it might take some time. That's the first step. You need to go to Google Cloud Console, okay? And the link is here. So you really don't need to, the link is here. So where is this? So you really don't need to worry about that, okay? And then next thing that you have to do is you need to first create a project. So you can just give it any name. So I'll say LWC, or maybe I'll say full calendar, and then create it. So it will take some time to create the project, and you will get the notification here once your project is created. And once your project is created, you need to enable the API. You see here. Now you could see it says success circle, the green circle. You need to enable the API. So which API you need to enable is, first of all, click on this enable API and service, and then search for Google Calendar. And you will see Google Calendar API. Okay, click on, then enable this API. So you would be able to enable this API within your Google. And then it says what you have to do is, once you have enabled, you need to click on credentials in the API and services sidebar, and then you need to click on create credentials. So you have to click on this credentials you see here. And then you need to click on create credentials, this button, API key. And then it will say API key, and then we will see our API key, okay? This is our API key. That is what that has to be there within our console. Sorry, within our JavaScript. This is our API key. And then there is also something that you need to do is, it says you need to make your calendar public. How you could make your calendar public is, in the calendar interface, locate my calendars area on the left. So let me showcase you here. So what we have to do is, you have to go to calendar. Okay, got it. First, you need to open the calendar. Then this is your my calendar interface, okay? And then let's see what the document says. The document says, click on my calendar, then hover over the calendar. You need and click on 3 dots, okay? So if we hover over calendar, let's say Salesforce Learning is our calendar. Click on 3 dots, and then settings and sharing, okay? That's what it says, settings and sharing. Then check make available to public. So you need to make available to public, click on OK, and your calendar is publicly available now. Then get back here, maybe create an event for today. I'll say full calendar testing, okay? And click on save. So this is our calendar here, created. Let's go ahead and deploy this again. And now I have to change the calendar here. So I'll go to Salesforce training, settings and sharing, and we need to see what is the calendar. So this is my calendar ID, okay? So I'm going to just use this calendar ID here. Any confusion, any questions so far? Anyone? Shweta, are you clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's refresh this and hope that we would be able to see the calendar, the Google Calendar as well our events. So we are not able to see that. Okay, this is today. Let's maybe refresh it again. Now this is something where you really have to be patient because this is not working. You have got this Google Calendar API key, you have given it. Events, you have got Google Calendar ID. Okay, this is what you have. Now there are two different events. Let's maybe comment out this second part. I'm just checking if this is I'm just testing it, okay, if this is the issue or not. And that's how you would be learning. Okay, so nothing is working. Maybe we could get back to document and see what is happening. So you see here it says dependencies. There is a dependency missing. And that dependency is Google Calendar.js. So now we need to import this dependency in our JavaScript file as well. Okay. So we have to quickly get back or do the copy paste, get back to your local machine. You see gcal.js is within full calendar.js. So just go ahead and implement that. Okay. And let's see if this actually works. You really have to keep the document reading and see what exactly happens. Are you able to see? Are you not able to see? Getting any error? Try to debug. So now we are getting the error. It clearly says what is the error. It says because it violates the following contents: src, https, unsafe inline, or something is getting fishy. Okay. And what is that issue now? I know that we need to add one URL somewhere. So it says resource loaded is here, but error is somewhere else. So it is, yeah, let's try to again refresh this. Okay, there is no error. Resource loaded is there, but it's not working. But even when I tried in my previous org, the same thing was happening. It was not giving the outcome to me. So I went ahead. I slept for that day. Next day when I logged in, I saw that event coming up. So sometimes it really takes time. Now it is giving us the error. Yeah, that's what happened. So that's reality. Like it was not giving the outcome. So I just went ahead and said, okay, now I really don't want to make you work. So just go ahead, give it a try. Okay. Because I know that now we are getting the error, but sometimes really basically what happens is it actually sometimes it works, sometimes it gives you the error. One last thing that I would see is in my org, if I'll see if something is there, I'll let you know. Otherwise, I'll let you go and you try it, because without trying it, you would not be able to come up with the questions. But before, like so far, whatever we have talked about, is it like clear to everyone? Any questions? Some confusion?
I had one question, Amit.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I was, I'm not sure, like how we have used load style and load script, right? Are these also now accessible in my child components? I'm like, if I have a child component embedded in a parent, can I also use these there, or I will have to again load or like in the child component again?
I think it should be accessible, but no, I think CSS should not be accessible. That I'm sure. We really have to check it because I haven't tried it. We really have to check it. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I'll
Yep.
I'll try to check it.
We have to check it. So, yep, guys, go ahead. Okay, try it and let me know how it comes. Are you getting any issues or something? And then if some issues are there, I'm happy to help. But just go ahead and give it a try.